the future of the two-body shear wave exploration. Just a couple of quick, I'm gonna skip the central one, but here's the first one. First off, my friend Larry Lyons, who's a professor at Calgary. He's also been to the university at Newfoundland, past president of the SEG. He put out this paper, and here's the algebra that you need to get VP over VS as a function of mode-converted shear waves. This is the algebra and the derivation of the algebra that you have to. And so instead of putting in to get VP over VS, you just take TS over TP. Well, to get VP over VS, you got to do that. And in retrospect, you say, sure. But you have many times I take a blank sheet of paper and start scratching on this, and how can I make, where is the answer to this? And that's what we got to. It's what I got. So it's not a big deal. That's a quick algebra thing, and you can measure Poisson's ratio and from mode-converted shear wave data by just inserting that. And what you saw on that one slide where I described Chidi Babu Chitinini, the program, of course, had that equation in there and was measuring Poisson's ratio from converted wave data. And that was 81 we were doing that. Larry Lyons is showing that a VPVS map can be used in the Bakken area as a real nice lithology discriminator. No surprise, that's exactly what we've known for quite a while. And then let me jump over Richard Verme's paper and go to the one last thing I want to discuss, and that's this. I said I'd come back to this. So here is this Morrow truncation, this Morrow sand truncation, P wave and shear wave. So we're back to standard shear waves, standard P waves, and what we've got is a Morrow sand that comes up and goes to a certain amount and then truncates. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this delta T PP down to about here, and this delta T SS for that zone, and do it as a function of flag. Here's how I did it. I took a section like this and literally just put it on my window at home. I just pasted it to the window and took a pair of dividers out and measured the time. So I'm measuring event A and event B, and in fact the travel time P wave for that zone. Now what am I looking for? I'm looking for the sand going away. Here's the catch. This is not sand and carbonate. It's sand and marl. So it's kind of a shaly, limey shale. So it's not the total separation between the sands and the carbonates. It's more of a sand with a kind of a hybrid shale, a marl, which is what a limey shale is. So I'm going to measure event A, event B, and measure the difference between the two. And again, I'm just literally doing this using the window at my home as a light table. So here's event A and event B, and they look like this. Just stick it in a spreadsheet. There's A, there's B, and there's the delta TPP. No surprise. Then you get the shear wave section. You blow it up, put it on your window, measure A, measure B, and get delta TSS, and then you get this. Now you say, wait a minute, what am I supposed to see here? Think about it. So you got the sand pinching out, and it goes from mostly marl with a little sand to just marl and no sand. All right? That Pickett says in 63 it should be bigger Poisson's ratio once you get out of that sand. Poisson's ratio ought to go up with flag count to this side. Okay? And you look at the results and you go, oh my God, And you notice that the numbers here, you were asking what kind of numbers we had. Here's 33, 34, 35. This looking like a not so deep carbonate kinds of Poisson's ratio numbers. And how to get that number, I just took, the VP-VS ratio goes into Poisson's ratio and you can crank it out. It's just a spreadsheet thing. So you think, well, what a waste of time. Until you take one more step and fit a curve to it. And sure enough, subtle as it is, it actually works. So, science works. Okay, so what's the second body wave for? It actually gives you the ability to do two things. Discriminate lithology and discriminate the pore filler. Because you have a second body wave to compare to your primary body wave, PP, and actually measure these quantities, not assume what they are from AVO stuff. Now, if you look at the history of this, we were doing a ton of this, and then the great abyss came, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. It got a little better, and by the time it's 87 and we're going to do some more of this, some papers had come out, Ostrander and some others, describing how you could linearize the Zopert's equations to Chiari-Yaki equations and all that kind of stuff, and that you could build Poisson's ratio into AVO with P data alone, and that seemed to take flour, and that's what pretty much is left. Two-component seismology in the dirt. It's kind of fun. When I gave this talk at Western GECO, well, that's a big outfit. So they had 10 people working on two-body wave travel time inversion. And then you had 100 people working on AVO stuff. And of course, they always compared notes. So I asked him, I said, so do they look alike? And for the most part, they said they looked like second cousins. If you did an inversion for a zone, two-body wave versus AVO, they didn't have the relationship. They thought they'd be lockstep, but they haven't seen that. And I asked him if that kind of worried him, since they were estimating Poisson's ratio from the AVO stuff. Because it wasn't that long ago when you looked at amplitude as a function of anything, it was one complex beast. And we've gotten some equations that are represented in the Hampson-Russell equations that are in the Hampson-Russell software that seem to think this is kind of matter of course. But I would sure feel better if I was a manager at Western GECO to see a better agreement between the measured Poisson's ratio, like this, or Garota, and the estimated Poisson's ratio from AVO. I mean, that's my take on it. So, Poisson's ratio measured from the two-body waves is alive and well. It can do two things for you: discriminate lithology, and it can look at differences between pore fillers, and they can be put as a real attribute on a P-wave section, color attribute section. And you're actually measuring something that has a physical reality to it. So, comments, questions? So what are these problems on the processing? Are we having fun yet? That's good data. I should have given you some bad data. That would have really rankled you. That's beautiful stuff. Okay, good. Well, yeah, Thursday I'll be there briefly. I've got a week from hell, frankly. I'm in court all day tomorrow. The expert witness, and I'll be there all day. You know, this sort of stuff all day. This week is so complicated. But yeah, I'll be there. Then I got to go to IBA and IBA the next day, and stuff. So, a lot of stuff going on. Yesterday was good. I got to spend next 3 hours with my attorney from Beaumont, and I'm already tired. So, okay. Comments, questions? Okay, let me turn this off.